The question I want to answer in this clip is to say, why then should we follow the church year? Why should we be even worried about time? There are many people who are not. There are many people who decide that they're going to ignore the particular time of the year. They're not going to worry about Advent or worry about Lent. They're just going to do their own thing. And I think they're ever entitled to do that. But the problem with that for me is that what it begins to do is it loses something. And what it loses, first of all, is that it loses the concept of the cycle of life. That cycle of life where life goes through the cycles of each year. You know, sometimes we think of life as one long line, but really it isn't. Life is really just a repetitious cycle that we go through in each particular year. Really from birthday to birthday for some of us. We may say, oh, it's my birthday again. Well, of course it's your birthday again. You've gone through that cycle. And it's fantastic to celebrate as it's been each time. Some people don't like celebrating birthdays. But the truth of it is that it's the accomplishment of another cycle, another year. In the same way, the church's cycle goes through those aspects of what the Christian life is about, which makes it meaningful and makes it connect to us. And so, if you don't celebrate those things, if you don't acknowledge them, so often those events come and go, and there's no sense of connecting us to the events of that cycle. But it doesn't just connect us to the events of the cycle, it connects us to the last 2,000 years of celebrating it. It connects us to the saints. And I think for me, that's one of the major things of wanting to follow the church year and of understanding the concept of time within what we're doing in worship. This cycle has been part of the Christian life, and before that part of the Jewish life for centuries upon centuries. And so when we celebrate them, each time we come to Christmas, each time we come to Easter, it's not just the same old story. It's in fact the story that has been celebrated for generations upon generations of the faithful, of the saints. And I think that gives us something of a connection. It gives us something of an anchor. We're not just doing something new. We're not just airy-fairy and going to pass tomorrow. It's about saying that we're connecting ourselves into the foundation of all that has gone before in the church as well, both good and bad. That even the bad stuff, we need to acknowledge them and we need to learn from them. But the good stuff we can celebrate and we can enhance and connect within our communities. It's our communities that's also part of the time here. In terms of understanding church year, is that what understanding time can help us to draw together communities, can help us to draw together what reinforces us as a community, is the fact that these events are special to us, that it is special to us to celebrate Christmas, that it is special to us to celebrate Easter. And yes, we can get all upset about the fact that the world seems to have taken over some of these particular events and these festivals and maybe made them into something different to what we had them before. But let's not worry about what the world does. Let's celebrate what we do in acknowledging that how these events, how these festivals, just like they did for the Jews, can for us be things that draw together community and help them to do it. The other thing that they do is the thing that festivals and these feasts have always done, and that is that they help us to tell the story of faith. You know, so often we live now in a society where we don't tell the story anymore, and where a lot of people don't know the story anymore. We now live in a society where there are many people out there who've never picked up a Bible, who have no clue who Jesus is except as a swear word. It's in the midst of that in fact we can tell the story, that we can celebrate the story. Let's not fight with them. Let's enlighten them. Let's tell them about why this is an important thing for us to share. In fact, at the moment, it seems that other religions seem to be far better at sharing their story than we are at sharing ours. These festivals are there not just for the sake of having them. They're there to be vehicles for us to tell the story and to share the story with those around. Finally, these festivals and the church year is an aid to memory. It's an aid to remind us about what we're on about. It's an aid to remind us also about what Jesus did and where He was. And that includes the proper period, that period when there aren't so many festivals, when there aren't the feasts, but in fact where we're focusing on just the life of Jesus. You know, too often, because we've made Easter the high point of the church year, what we forget is that that high point was only one weekend of Jesus' life. If we believe that, in fact, there's 3.5 years chronicled within the Gospels, then hopefully we're going to spend time during the proper period, during half the year, that period of growth and development, realizing who Jesus was and bringing those things about who Jesus was into memory and making sure that that memory then becomes part of our life and our action. You know, the truth is that we act out of what we remember. And what we remember comes from what we keep reminding ourselves of. That as we remind ourselves of His love and His care and His connection with people, so that's what enables us and encourages us to go out into the world and be that person too. I believe that the church year is important for us, but it's important for worship as well, to give that continuity of time and of cycle and of connection with life.